I'm Miles, 33, and for the past 7 years, I thought I was happily married to my wife, Lauren, 31. We met back in high school, went our separate ways during college, and then reconnected at a mutual friend's wedding. It felt like fate had brought us back together. We built a quiet life in the suburbs of Minneapolis. Nice house, reliable cars, good jobs, nothing flashy but solid. I always believed we were a team, grounded in love and mutual respect. About 6 months ago, though, things started to shift. Lauren began spending more time with her younger sister, Dana, and this new circle of friends who were, frankly, a little too into luxury for their own budgets. Suddenly, Lauren started making offhand comments about how our house was starter size, or how I should step up and look for something more prestigious than my steady job at the county IT office. I brushed it off, figuring it was a phase, maybe some midlife restlessness. February is a miserable time to have a birthday in Minnesota. Cold, snow, plans canceled at the last minute. I knew Lauren was disappointed that her birthday weekend spa plans with Dana might get delayed due to weather, so I decided to surprise her. The actual day fell on a Tuesday, and she said she was going to spend the weekend with Dana since I had to work. That was the plan she knew. What she didn't know was that I had secretly taken Friday off, booked a table at her favorite steakhouse, and picked up her favorite cake from a little bakery near our home. The weather, of course, didn't cooperate. Forecasts warned of a major winter storm rolling in across 3 states. Most people would have canceled. I didn't. Call it stubbornness, or maybe just a husband who still believed that big gestures mattered. I packed the car, carefully tucked the cake in the back seat, and set off on what was supposed to be a 6-hour drive. It turned into 9 long hours of tense white-knuckle driving, low visibility, and multiple slowdowns from accidents on the highway. But I kept thinking about the look on Lauren's face when I walked through the door. That image kept me going. I finally arrived just after 4 p.m., cold, exhausted, jeans soaked from the snow after parking a block away because the plows hadn't come through yet. I didn't knock. The front door was unlocked, so I stepped inside quietly, cake in hand, ready to yell surprise. But I never got the chance. I heard them in the kitchen. Laughter, wine glasses clinking, casual conversation. I was just about to call out when I heard my name. Lauren was talking. He texted me earlier, said he was stuck at work, probably playing that stupid video game again, she said, and Dana laughed. At least he's not here ruining your weekend. I froze. Then Lauren said, "Can you imagine if he showed up? He'd probably bring that same cake and want to go to dinner like it's some big romantic gesture." Dana chuckled. "Well, the roads are bad. He might actually crash." Then came the words that changed everything. Lauren laughed and said, "Honestly, I wouldn't mind. The insurance payout would be worth it." They both laughed again. I didn't make a sound, just stood there, heart in my throat, holding a cake I nearly died bringing. I turned around, walked into the kitchen, set the box on the counter without a word, and walked out. Her face went white. She tried to speak, but I didn't let her. I just walked back out into the snow, got in my car, and drove away. I didn't answer her calls, didn't check the texts. That night, I slept in a dingy motel off the interstate, staring at the ceiling, wondering how I'd been so blind for so long. The next morning, I woke up in that motel room, the kind where the curtains never quite close and everything smells faintly of mildew. I hadn't slept more than a few hours. I stared at the motel ceiling, the sound of wind still howling outside, and tried to process what I'd heard. The words played in my head on a loop. Lauren laughing about me dying, Dana chiming in like it was some punchline. It didn't feel real, but the pit in my stomach told me it was. I turned my phone on. 48 missed messages. 21 calls. I didn't open a single one. I sent one text to my buddy Sam. "Something happened with Lauren. Can I crash at your place for a bit?" His reply came less than a minute later. "Doors open. Coffee's on. Come through." No questions. Just what I needed. I drove straight back home, 9 hours through snow and silence, arriving just past midnight. Lauren was still at Dana's. I packed in the dark, 3 suitcases of clothes, my laptop, a few important documents from the filing cabinet, and my grandfather's old pocket knife. I didn't take anything we'd bought together. Not out of pettiness, just clarity. I wasn't interested in a fight. I was done. At Sam's, I slept on the guest bed for the next few nights, grateful for a roof and the quiet. He didn't push me to talk, just handed me coffee in the mornings and asked if I wanted to watch the game in the evenings. It felt good not to explain myself. Lauren kept calling. From her phone, Dana's phone, unknown numbers. Voicemails started off tearful, shifted into angry, then pleading. "I didn't mean it that way," she said in one. "It was just a joke." But no matter how she tried to frame it, there was one thing missing. Any real sign she understood why it had cut so deep. By day 3, I'd frozen our joint credit cards, opened a new checking account, and had my work email rerouted to my laptop so I could start working remotely. I told my boss I needed a family leave. He didn't ask for details and I didn't offer them. That week, I met with a financial planner, a guy named Carl who came recommended through a coworker. We laid everything out: mortgage, shared debts, savings. Carl pointed out that in the last year alone, Lauren had racked up over $14,000 in discretionary spending, most of it online purchases I had no clue about. I wasn't angry, I was numb. Then came the real punch. Lauren had opened a store credit card in her name, but linked to our joint account. I'd never seen the bill. She hadn't told me. Carl helped me draft a formal financial separation notice. Not divorce papers, not yet. Just a clear line in the sand. I had it delivered to her work address by courier. I heard nothing back for 2 days. That Friday, I posted a photo to social media. It was the birthday cake I'd left on Dana's kitchen counter. Still boxed, half smashed from the long drive. No caption, just the image. Within an hour, my inbox lit up. Friends messaging, asking if I was okay. A few told me Lauren was saying it was all a misunderstanding, that I'd blown things out of proportion. That was the moment I realized something. She wasn't just trying to talk to me, she was trying to rewrite the story. But I wasn't going to play along. I didn't want revenge. I didn't want drama. I just wanted my peace back. And I'd do whatever it took to protect it. By the end of that week, I'd started to feel like a ghost drifting through someone else's life. I wasn't angry the way I thought I'd be. I was detached, like I'd quietly stepped outside the marriage and shut the door behind me. Sam noticed. He offered me his garage to store my stuff long-term, helped me move a few more boxes over from the house while Lauren was gone. I didn't take anything big, just my tools, my old records, some books, things that felt like mine. Then came the unexpected part. Lauren showed up at my office. I wasn't there. I'd been working remotely since everything went down, so when my coworker texted saying, "Your wife's here, looks rough," I didn't respond. I just sat on Sam's couch, laptop in my lap, staring at the blinking cursor on a half-written email. That night, I turned off my phone again. But it wasn't over. Saturday afternoon, I ran into Dana. Of all places, it was the grocery store, frozen foods aisle. I was picking up microwave dinners and protein bars when I heard my name. I turned around and there she was, same smug look like nothing had happened. She opened with, "Lauren's worried sick. You need to call her." I said nothing, just stared. Dana kept going. "You're blowing this out of proportion. It was a joke between sisters. You were never supposed to hear it." That hit a nerve. I finally spoke. "A joke? You call wishing someone dead for insurance money a joke?" She rolled her eyes. It was sarcasm. We were drinking. Everyone vents. I took a step closer and asked, "Would you still call it sarcasm if your boyfriend overheard you saying the same thing about him?" She blinked, then looked away. No answer. I left my cart in the middle of the aisle and walked out. Back at Sam's, I opened my laptop and wrote a single-sentence email to Lauren. "I heard what you said. I don't need an explanation." Then I blocked her on everything again. The silence after that was deafening, but it gave me room to think, room to breathe. A few days later, I met with a lawyer. Not to file, not yet, just to understand my options. His name was Richard, calm and direct. We went over everything, the house, the accounts, the implications of a legal separation. I told him I wasn't sure what I wanted, just that I needed a clean line between Lauren and me until I figured it out. He suggested a formal separation agreement. I agreed. That Friday, I got a notification. Lauren had tried to access our joint streaming accounts. Password changed. One more thread cut. On Sunday, Sam had a few friends over for football. Guys I knew from years back. They didn't ask questions, just handed me a beer and made room on the couch. For a few hours, I felt almost normal again. Then came Monday morning. I got an email from Lauren, not long, just a few lines. "I'm sorry, not asking for anything, just needed to say that." No excuses, no blame. Just that. I didn't reply, but I didn't delete it either. That night, I stood on the back porch at Sam's place, looking up at the stars and wondering how it had come to this. Wondering what kind of love turns into contempt. Wondering if the version of Lauren who sent that message was real or just a new performance. But mostly, I wondered what kind of man I was going to be after all this. By day 15, the silence had started to feel more like peace than punishment. I'd fallen into a rhythm, wake up early, make coffee, go for a run, work remotely from Sam's dining table, heat up something frozen for dinner, then scroll through mindless videos until I passed out. It wasn't exciting, but it was mine. The space between me and Lauren gave me time to think, and more importantly, time to feel without being manipulated. Then, on a Wednesday afternoon, Sam knocked gently on the bedroom door. "Hey," he said, "she's outside." I didn't even need to ask who. Lauren was parked across the street in her car, just sitting there, engine off, staring at the house like it was a locked gate she didn't know how to open. I didn't go out. I watched from the window, phone in hand, until eventually she drove away. 20 minutes later, she texted me, "I just needed to see you with my own eyes." I didn't respond. The next morning, I met with Richard again. We finalized the separation agreement. Nothing aggressive, just clearly defined boundaries, separate finances, no contact unless necessary, and a clause about personal space. I wanted a clean break without war. Richard said it was one of the most straightforward cases he'd handled. That stung more than I expected. 7 years, reduced to bullet points. On Friday, the papers were delivered to her work address. I didn't want drama, I just wanted closure. That weekend, Lauren's sister Dana posted a cryptic status online. Some people would rather destroy a marriage than own their part in a misunderstanding. I didn't reply. But the fact that she called it a misunderstanding made me laugh bitterly. Misunderstanding doesn't sound like "God, I hope he crashes." But something else happened that weekend, too. I got a message from Jill, Lauren's best friend since college. We'd always been cordial, never especially close. Her message said, "I'm sorry you had to hear that. I've talked to Lauren. She knows how badly she messed up. You didn't deserve that." That was the first time anyone from Lauren's circle acknowledged my pain without trying to spin it. I didn't answer, but I appreciated it more than I expected. The following week, Lauren emailed again. This time it wasn't emotional. No guilt tripping, no pleading, just a short, direct message. "I understand the papers were delivered. I've read them. Let me know if there's anything you want to discuss." The shift was subtle, but I noticed it. Less desperation, more acceptance. Then Thursday night, I got home from a long walk and found a package by Sam's door. No return label. Inside was a hardcover journal. First page had a handwritten note. "If you ever want to write it all down, even if it's just for yourself. Lauren." I stared at that note for a long time. Didn't know if it was manipulative or sincere. Maybe both. I didn't throw the journal away. I placed it in the drawer next to my bed. By day 21, something inside me had settled. Not resolved, just quieted. I no longer felt the urge to explain myself to anyone. I wasn't defending my silence. I wasn't drowning in rage. I was simply existing again. Sam noticed. He said I looked lighter. That night, I sat in the backyard with a beer and thought about the man I'd been 3 weeks ago, standing in a snowstorm with a birthday cake, thinking love meant showing up no matter what. Now I understood something different. Love isn't sacrifice without boundaries. It's mutual respect. And whatever Lauren and I once had, somewhere along the line, that respect got lost. Day 30 hit with a strange calmness I hadn't felt in a long time. Not peace exactly, but clarity. The kind that comes after you've cleaned up a mess so big you stop noticing the stains. You just breathe and move on. I'd finally found an apartment. 1 bedroom, small kitchen, 3rd floor walk-up with uneven floors and drafty windows, but it was mine. Sam helped me move the few things I had, and when we were done, he slapped me on the back and said, "Fresh starts always feel colder than they are. Just give it time." That night, I unpacked in silence, setting my things in their new places, my own bed, my books, the mug I always used that Lauren hated. The space was tiny, but it didn't feel empty. It felt earned. Lauren didn't contact me that day, or the day after. But on day 32, I got a letter, handwritten, from her. It was short, no dramatics, just, I know I can't fix what I broke, but I'm trying to fix myself. If you ever want to talk, I'll listen. No expectations. I folded the note and put it in a drawer next to the journal she'd sent weeks earlier. That same afternoon, I had a final meeting with Richard, my lawyer. We talked through timelines. If we decided to finalize the divorce, we'd be free and clear by summer. No court battles, no drawn-out hearings, just paperwork and signatures, clean and cold. After I left his office, I drove to the house. It was the first time I'd been back since grabbing my winter gear. The lawn was mowed, the porch light had been replaced. Lauren always hated that old flickering bulb. There was a new wreath on the door. She was still living there, still making it a home. I didn't knock. I just sat in the car for 20 minutes, then drove off. That weekend, something unexpected happened. Dana, her sister, sent me a message. The same woman who laughed at the idea of me being silenced now wrote, "I was wrong. That night, I crossed a line. I've been in therapy too. Lauren asked me to go with her. You didn't deserve what we said, what we laughed about. I'm sorry." It didn't erase anything, but it cracked something open. Some part of me had started to believe I imagined the cruelty, that maybe I was too sensitive. But no, there it was, confirmation. They both knew it was wrong. By day 35, I was finally sleeping better. Not deep, dreamless sleep, but sleep without replaying that moment in the kitchen over and over. Then, on day 39, Lauren sent another email. Subject line, terms. She'd attached a document, 2 sets of conditions. One if we reconciled, one if we divorced. The reconciliation terms were surprisingly thoughtful. 6 months of therapy, no moving back in until we'd completed it, financial transparency, and monthly check-ins. It was mature. The divorce terms were clean, no alimony. She'd buy out my half of the house, no games, no dragging things out. I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I sat in my apartment that night, eating Chinese takeout out of the box, thinking about what it meant that she offered both options, not just the one she wanted. She was giving me a choice, something she hadn't done in a long time. I looked at the journal again, still blank, still waiting. And then I picked up a pen and wrote just 1 sentence on the first page. Sometimes love doesn't die, it just changes shape. Whatever happened next, I'd be deciding it from a place of strength, not pain, not fear, just truth.